Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazer. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazer.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Hallis Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails. NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the show.
Oh yeah, some Van Halen for you. And guess what? Right now, it's Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. And right now, we are getting ready to go on the air with Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams. Yeah, and Smokin' Jim Frazer. And today we have our guest, Matt VENSEL, standing by in the waiting room. He's going to be coming on. He is from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He will talk with us about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Don't forget, Kevin Acklin has decided to move on. We will talk with him about that. Sidney Crosby in the All-Star game, the countries, and we're going to talk about that as well. The Super Bowl, what a blowout game that was, and then also we're going to talk about the Steelers' off-season plans, what we think could happen. Smokin' Jim and I, and a whole lot more. And don't forget, at 5:00 also is the Wrestle Talk Show with me and Smokin' Jim Frazer. I got some pictures from Wrestle Rex that I want to show you. I was at on Saturday down at the City Winery. I want to thank the Pros of Wrestling for having me down there. My mom was with me as well. We had a good time down there, and I'm going to show you a picture of me with Congo Kong, who is a well-known professional wrestler, wrestled in TNA, MLW, and some of the other companies as well. All right, let's get started here with our show. We have a comment here. Vlogs 18 says, "Hi, Ralph, Smokin' Jim Frazer, and how are you? And it's great to that you're here. And also love the Van Halen. Thank you for that as well." All right. Okay, now we're going to go into our studio sponsor, which is Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, and that's 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Mata today. You ought to call Mata, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And I want to introduce my co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazer. How are you, Smokin' Jim?
Hey, I'm doing great, Ralph. Can't wait for the show.
Oh, absolutely. Live from Bethel Park, as he's getting ready later on at 7 o'clock to go on Bethel Park TV. Also on Facebook and YouTube, Bethel Park TV. Catch the Pittsburgh Sports Line show coming up at 7 o'clock with Smokin' Jim, L. Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner, and a few other, Mike, perhaps. I'm not sure if Nick will be on, but there's always some rotating guest on there as well. So, but anyway, tune in at 7:00. And if you can't get Bethel Park TV, you don't live in Bethel Park, then what you want to do is go on their YouTube channel or Facebook page as well, Pittsburgh Sports Line. All right. I'm going to start off with my rant today, and my rant is real simple today. How have the mighty have fallen? I said that about our professional teams, but how about this Pitt basketball team? They were the mighty last year. The last couple of years, they've been doing really well, getting into the tournament, winning games, beating key people. And then they go and they lay an egg against North Carolina, and they're on this big losing streak. They blew it against some other team, and some other team they were supposed to beat. Well, now they're starting to blow these games. Will the real Pitt men's basketball team please stand up? All right. Smokin Jim's wisdom.
Hey, great job, Ralph. I tell you what, the national guys is doing some flip-flopping this week because they said this is an offensive league, and it looked like the defense still wins championships. It's just that we haven't had a dominant defense in a while. Hey, listen, the Philadelphia Eagles could remind a lot of people of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A year ago, Philadelphia lost the last 6 out of 7 games. Pittsburgh this year lost 5 in a row. Philadelphia has the best defense in all of football. Pittsburgh has the highest paid defense in all of football, maybe a piece or two away from being a dominating defense like the Philadelphia Eagles. So, hey, fans of Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe they're not as far away as a lot of people think.
That is true, Smokin Jim. I do agree with you on that. This show today is dedicated to my late father, Ralph Williams II, and my late nephew, Sean Negley Jr. And I also want to say hooray and congratulations to the Fogel family. Mark Fogel was released today by Russian officials in the Russian prison he was being held in. And I want to thank President Trump, Guy Reckenthaler, who is the congressman in Butler, who stepped up and helped out with the situation. And it's great to see Mark will be on his way back home real soon. His mom will be able to see him, once again. She's 93 years old, and I felt bad for her that her son was in that Russian prison or whatever. But I want to say thank you, Donald Trump, and I give you a thumbs up for that, and also for Guy Reckenthaler. All right, let's.
Hey, Ralph. How long was he in prison?
He was there since 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was a lot of criticism, Smokin Jim, about Brittany Griner coming out before him. There was a lot of scrutinism going on about that. So, but he's home. So he'll be home soon. Matt VENSEL joins us. Matt, welcome to the program. It's great to have you from the Post-Gazette. Covers the Pittsburgh Penguins. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Looks like you're in some facility there. Where are you?
This is my basement. We just got it refinished here, so we just got to get the decorations up. So it's looking pretty Spartan right now.
Ah, I see. It looks pretty sharp. Looks like you're in some building somewhere, some auditorium or something. That's kind of what it looked like a little bit, but looks nice. Really does. Thank you. All right, Matt. Smokin Jim, say hello to Matt.
What's up, my man, Matt? What's going on?
Not much.
Matt, thanks for being part of the program today. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. I hear Kevin Acklin left the team or has stepped away from the team. What's going on with that? What was the purpose of that? Was it to spend time with his family, or was there something, to it?
I just think he decided it was time to move on to another opportunity. He hasn't yet announced what that's going to be. He actually agreed to stay on through the rest of the season, which suggests everything I've heard that it was kind of an amicable split. He just decided to go in a different direction. So he's going to finish out the year. Obviously, Pens are going to need to fill an important position on the business side. Kevin, probably most notably, Penguins fans know him as the one who really he mended the fences, so to speak, with Jaromir Jagr to make sure that Jaromir could have that retirement ceremony last year. So, in terms of his contributions, he's done a lot of things, but that's probably the one that fans will know most, that Kevin was the guy who kind of made everything happen with Jagr coming back over here last year.
Yeah, Kevin's a get-done kind of guy. I mean, I know Kevin from some circles, and he's he gets things done whenever you ask him to do something. And so he was once the Mayor Peduto's chief of staff, and so in the city of Pittsburgh through politics and stuff. Matt, tell us a little bit about what's going on. I know with the team. They're winning some games now. The continuity starting to come together a little bit. They had some injuries here with Crosby and Malkin, being out. But it seems like they're starting to come around. What has caused that to start happening? Is it the coaching? Is it the players getting together? What's going on with this?
Well, they've played a lot better defensively, that's for sure, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and that's what allowed them to pick up a win the other night in New York when Sidney Crosby was out. But the problem is they dug themselves such an early hole. They got back in the mix, and then they sputtered again. And now they're at the point where moral victories aren't good enough, and they know it. Especially with the extra point you get if you lose in overtime or the shootouts. So you can look at the standings, and the Penguins, I think they're 6 points out of a playoff spot, something like that. But they have to jump over 6 teams, which mathematically speaking, it's going to be really challenged. So they have played a little bit better here the last couple of weeks. Alex Nedeljkovic is playing really well too. That's a big part of it. But they need to really go on. I mean, there's 25 games left. I mean, they might need to win 18 of them to climb back into the playoff picture, which we saw them go on a run last year. I'm not so sure it's going to happen this year, but they got to get going.
Let me ask you this. Are they playing better, do you think, with or without Jari? Do you think they're playing better without him? Or do you think it was contract remorse signing him to that contract?
Well, I do think they had remorse for signing to the contract. But, yeah, I mean, I think the Penguins have played better, and Ned's also played well, and those two things are tied together. When you have confidence in your goalie and you're not worried that he's going to give up a goal in the first shot or he's going to, allow a goal in late, you just play looser. Not so much like, in getting away from structure and things like that, but just – you kind of have that peace of mind, with your confidence, knowing that, okay, if I do my job, the goalie is going to make the save as long as I don't allow a breakaway or a 2-on-1. So I do think they've tied together, those two things are tied together. I don't think it's a situation where the players in that locker room didn't like Tristan Jarry on a personal level, but they also knew that they just couldn't count on him. And they didn't need to come out and say it. It was obvious. So, I think just moving on from Tristan and sending him to Wilkes, kind of lifted a cloud over this team. And then Ned stepped up and has really played well. I mean, look, Ned wasn't playing well in the first 3-4 months of the season either, and he's really turned it on. So it wasn't just Tristan that was struggling.
All right. Matt's brought to you by Alex's Flowers. Call Alex today, 412-661-6071. Weddings, funerals, and don't forget Friday for your sweetheart. Give Alex a call today. Free delivery. Call him. 412-661-6071 or order online at alexsflowers.com. Smokin' Jim, do you have any questions for Matt?
Yeah, no, I'm going to just pivot a little bit. I hope it's okay with you. I thought that Wayne Gretzky's record was one of those records that'll never be broken. Tell us a little bit about your feelings about Ovechkin, and did you think that Ovechkin was going to one day break Gretzky's record?
Yeah, he's getting here. What's he, 15 away? He's really close to it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any strong feelings one way or another. I know a lot of people north of the border here feel like that's a record that should belong to Canada, not some Russian player. I don't feel one way or another about that. But I think I am a little bit surprised that Ovechkin got there, just in a sense that, a couple of years ago, it looked like maybe he was on the downturn as a player and the Capitals were really struggling. And it just kind of seemed like it might be a chore for him to get there. And then really the last 2 years, the Capitals have done really well to do kind of a quick turn rebuild, and they're playing well. And Ovechkin, he's not the dynamic player that he was in his prime. I mean, we're talking about one of the 10 greatest players ever, but he can still shoot really well. He's such a threat on the power play. Seems like he gets an empty net goal every 5 games. So, a couple of years ago, I wasn't sure if Ovechkin was going to get there. And now the question is he going to get there by the end of this year? I know the Penguins are on the schedule late in the season. I think that would be some compelling theater if Ovechkin was a goal away when they played the Penguins. But, unless knock on wood, he gets some sort of injury here, he's going to pass Gretzky and potentially pull away from him here over the next couple of years.
Let me ask you this, Matt. What's going? Your thoughts? Great on this trade that Dubas made a few weeks back. How do you think it's working out?
I thought it was a great trade, especially with the context that Kyle Dubas, basically made it clear that he wasn't going to re-sign Marcus Pettersson or Drew O'Connor. He liked them as players, but he also saw that the team wasn't surging towards a playoff spot and saw an opportunity to add some future aspects. I mean, I didn't think they would be able to get a first-round pick from Marcus Pettersson. I know, some people around the league felt the same way, but Jim Rutherford, our old friend here in Pittsburgh, really wanted Marcus and Drew as well. So to get a first-round pick and a decent prospect in that return, I think it's a very good haul. And, the two players they brought back, Dan Heinen, and the big defenseman, Vinny Descharnay. I think that's how you say it. I'm still trying to figure out how to spell it, too, in the newspaper. Those guys are like placeholders. They're under contract for next year as well. They're kind of fringe NHL-type players, but it's nice to have those guys around while you wait for the prospects to ascend and, so the Penguins can be certain that they're ready when they do get the call to Pittsburgh.
You're watching the Sports Corner Show. My name's Ralph Williams, along with Smokin Jim Frazer by phone. And we have our guest today, Matt VENSEL from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We're talking about Pittsburgh Penguin hockey. With this show can be seen on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platform, and also on the Huddle Sports Network, and soon to be broadcast on the South Florida Tribune Network and also on the Sports Vival Network as well. Because we're moving on up here with where we're going to be on some future platforms here. So make sure you tune in and watch the Sports Corner Show every Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m. right here on all your social media platforms and sports networks as well. All right, Matt, one other question I have for you. This new format for the All-Star game here, they're doing for 2 weeks, this Nations thing. What's your thoughts on this? Do you like this, or do you think they should go with the traditional game?
Well, they're trying to get back to the quote-unquote best on best international hockey. In the past, obviously there's the Olympics. They haven't had the Olympics, and I think the last time was 2016, 2014 maybe. And they also haven't had the World Cup of Hockey. So this is their kind of shot at doing it. It's complicated by the fact that, Russia isn't invited to participate. Czechia could be there. I mean, there's Latvia. I mean, there's other countries that could be there, and we'll see if they're at the Olympics. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see how fans take to it. I mean, what I've sensed here in the Pittsburgh area in the United States that is people don't really care about this tournament too much. I know in Canada they're really excited about it. Now, maybe the games will start and fans will be really into it. I mean, the U.S. team is probably the favorite, and they could be in the favorite next year's Olympics. So I kind of look at this tournament here as a dress rehearsal of sorts for the Olympics next year. It'll be in Italy. There'll be more teams participating, but I mean, they're doing this instead of the All-Star game, which I'm fine with because the All-Star game is boring. So this can't be any worse.
There you go. It might even be more exciting. I mean, people get to see stuff from other countries and go up against each other. It's not a bad thing.
Well, one thing I should have pointed out is like the players are invested in this. Like the players care. I mean, look at Sidney Crosby. It clearly isn't 100%, but he really wants to play in the tournament. So it means a lot to the players. And with all these All-Star games, like when the players are competitive and care, then the game usually turns out okay. The problem is usually these games, they have nothing to play for. And therefore, it kind of shows up in the quality of play. I mean, look at the NBA All-Star game, for example. So these guys say they care about the tournament. I believe them. So it should make for some good hockey. I just don't know if people in the United States are going to be tuned into it as much as our friends from Canada.
All right, just one quick announcement here for everyone here. Next Tuesday, Smokin Jim and I will not be on air here because Smokin Jim and I, possibly both of us, will be at the Highmark Stadium for a leadership playbook speech by Claudio Rosano. He is our co-host on the Sports Corner radio show, and he is also a very good public speaker, and he's going to be doing the leadership playbook down at the Highmark Stadium down in Station Square, the home of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We're going to get Matt Grubba coming on here real soon to talk about the Riverhounds coming up in the next few months because their season will be starting as well. We had Noah Howes on last week to talk about the Pirates, and this week we have Matt here to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're kind of spreading the wealth around here a little bit, try to get everybody on here as we go while the Steelers are in their off season a little bit as well. All right, Matt, thanks for being part of the program. Smokin' Jim, you have any final questions for Matt?
No, I don't. Great job, Matt.
All right, Matt VENSEL from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Check out all his articles and check him out. He's also on some other networks as well. And Matt, thank you for being part of the program. Your basement looks pretty sharp there. I like that, and looks pretty nice. Thank you. Thank you for being part of it.
Anytime. You guys have a good one.
Oh, by the way, Matt, I forgot to wish you a happy New Year. So
same to you.
Since last year that we talked, so
it's been a while.
Yeah, I want to wish you a happy New Year. So have yourself a great one, Matt. Thank you.
All right, you too. Thank you, guys.
That was Matt VENSEL from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Tell us about the Penguins. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on what Matt had to say. You there, Smokin' Jim?
Yeah, Ralph, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Your thoughts on what Matt had to say.
Oh, Matt was awesome, man. He nailed it as usual.
All right. Smokin' Jim. Let's go and do the boxing report. Do you have anything to report in boxing, in the boxing world?
Thank you very much. You are welcome. Sorry about that, Ralph. Yeah, I do. Actually, I tell you what, man. Boxing is really starting to pick up again. Here in Pittsburgh, we're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They just had a pro show on Saturday night. Al Levine, the Taka Machine, attended, and there is some outstanding local professional fighters in Pittsburgh that's coming and starting to make a real name for themselves. So, and there's some big time upcoming bouts coming up. And as usual, on Raw, one of the Pauls, Logan Paul, this time looked pretty good in beating Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, we saw that. We'll talk about that on Wrestle Talk coming up next hour. We have a lot to talk about, as we always do. We're going to be on for a half hour today because we don't have a guest. Next week, Kanan Christopher will join us. Kanan was involved in the Wrestle Rex event this past Saturday down at the City Winery. I'll have some pictures and some, we'll be talking about that as well. We have a lot of announcements to make. Some of the companies in town, some of the independent companies have events coming up. We'll be talking about that as also. And, we're also going to be talking a lot about the WWE, AEW's guy. We have some things to talk about with them as well. John Moxley versus Adam Copeland. Hangman Adam Page running roughshod all over AEW, beating up on people. And then you have MJF now going after all these different legends now. He's going after Dustin Rhodes. So we're going to be talking a lot about that stuff. Hurt Syndicate's adding a new member possibly. We're going to lots to talk about here. Swerve Strickland, in the fold again. So will he be fighting Adam Page again? Or will he be, fighting somebody else? We're going to find out what's going on at AEW as we go along here. But also, too, don't forget about the WWE big-time stuff on Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, the return of Solo Sikoa. I didn't expect that at all. But we'll talk all about that next hour coming up at 5 o'clock for Wrestle Talk with myself, Smokin' Jim Frazer, as well. Smokin' Jim, let's get started here a little bit with the rest of the show here. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. What were your thoughts mainly about the Super Bowl? I know it was a blowout. The Eagles, kind of blew out the Chiefs a little bit here. Chiefs did try to mount a little bit of a comeback I saw there. But what were your thoughts on this game and about the game as a whole?
Well, I tell you what, really surprising. Good coaching on both sides of the football. The Chiefs figure that if they shut down Barkley, that there was no way that Jalen Hurts was going to be able to beat them, and they failed miserably. Jalen Hurts just ripped them apart. they did their job. They shut down Barkley. I didn't think anybody could. They put together a great defensive game plan to do that. But the Philadelphia Eagles, and I knew when the Pittsburgh Steelers played them late in the season that Philly was going to be a problem for some teams because they were just so physical on both interior lines. And that defense, I tell you what, you get 11 guys running to the football route, and you're going to be a hard defense to beat. And that's what Philadelphia had. And congratulations to Cooper DeJean for taking the pick six back to the house that kind of broke Kansas City Chiefs back early on.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, Smokin' Jim, but I have to say it. I'm not going to say who else, but I will say that I will congratulate 2 of 3 Pitt players, A.J. Wood and Devontae Maddox. I will not congratulate Kenny Pickett on getting his Super Bowl ring. So there you go.
How come?
Huh? I'm sorry? No, I just, I don't know. I mean, but you know something, though? The Steelers now got egg on their face again because what they ended up doing was drafting this guy in the first round and only got a 5th-round pick for him. And then on top of that, now he's with a better team and he got a Super Bowl. So maybe I should be careful about how, with him. I don't know. But that's just my feeling.
No, I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that feel your same way.
Yeah.
That's why I was just interested.
Oh, absolutely.
In why you think.
Yeah, I just think that, if he was any kind of a sportsman person, he would have said, okay, look, all right, yeah, I'll compete against Russell Wilson. And if he would have stayed, he would have played. Okay, do you catch what I'm saying? If he would have stayed, he would have played because Russell Wilson was hurt for 6 games, remember?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, but he didn't. And now he ended up being the backup there, which is good for him because he's going to get a ring for doing practically absolutely almost nothing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but it's official today, Smokin' Jim, and the Saints have formally announced that Kellen Moore is their new head coach. So there you are. Kellen Moore, new head coach with the New Orleans Saints. Finally, the last team to finish up their hiring of their head coach. All the other teams that needed a head coach have hired one effectively. All right, Smokin'.
How's that going to affect Philadelphia, think, moving forward?
No, they're going to have to get another offensive coordinator, looks like, unless they hire from within. I have to see who they have on their team to hire from within. I'm sure Sirianni will have to go out and look for somebody. There's a few people out there. They could always hire Nathaniel Hackett. You know what I mean? I mean, there's always some people out there. But anyway, I don't know. I'll have to see what Sirianni comes up with. There's a few guys out there, that he might be able to bring in. Not as good as Kellen Moore, but we'll go from there. He brought in 2 great coordinators. Vic Fangio, great, his defense played very well. Spagnuolo, I thought Kansas City's defense played the best they could, but they were mistaken of the fact that I said this to my wife. I says, Kansas City's not being careful. Jalen Hurts can beat you when you let him, and they let him. So and Jalen
hey, Ralph,
Hurts,
let me ask you this, Ralph. Not to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Do you see similarities in Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields?
I do. If they let Justin Fields do his job, we talked about this on the radio show. The rumors that were out there about Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson not getting along toward the end of the season because they wouldn't let him do what he needed to do. I see the similarities there. Justin Fields can use his feet with a weak offensive line. I mean, it wasn't weak; it was just inexperienced. I mean, we had some injuries there, and so I like what I see in Justin Fields. I think he's probably gonna be the starter for the Steelers this year. I don't see where else they could go with this whole scenario here. I don't see anything else. I know they're planning on going into the draft and looking for somebody in like the 3rd or 4th or even the late rounds, getting a quarterback and grooming them and bringing them through the system. But backup. I don't know if they're going to keep Kyle Allen. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He is a quality backup. Backed up Josh Allen, won games when he had to. So I don't see where the Steelers really have any problems here. I mean, they have Justin Fields. Thank goodness they brought him in as a quality backup to Russell Wilson. Maybe they can find somebody out there that's available that might want to come to Pittsburgh, which, everybody wants to play for Mike Tomlin. Everybody wants to win a championship, but you're not going to win it here. So I don't know why they think coming here you're going to win a championship. I said this many times. I don't think the Steelers will ever win another Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin. That's just my thoughts. And I think after this extension, he's done.
Any chances of bringing Russell Wilson back?
Well, you heard what I said on the radio show last Saturday, or this past Saturday. The rumor I heard was 2 years, $30 million. He said that's what he told the reporters at the Pro Bowl. I gave the Steelers an opportunity of $2 years for $30 million. The only way I see them bringing Russell Wilson back, Smokin' Jim, is if it's a desperate thing. If they think they have no confidence in Justin Fields, I think they're going to bring Russell. They would bring him back for that kind of money. They have a lot of money under the cap, but they have a lot of other needs too, Smokin' Jim. They need a second wide receiver. They need we don't know what they're doing with Najee yet. Okay, there's rumors out there Najee is possibly, going to get a new contract. I don't know. They might put the franchise tag on him. I'm not sure exactly. They needed to at least get some kind of offensive line stability there. They need to bring in at least another guy or two here. And they also probably will. Defensive line needs a lot of help. They need to at least get another corner, maybe another safety. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns here in this offseason, Smokin' Jim. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I think they need to take that money and start investing in other areas instead of spending it all on defense and not winning any games. I mean, or not any key games. Let's put it that way.
What number you think they would have to pay to get Justin Fields under a 2-year contract?
Let me see. They declined his 5th-year option. I think they might be able to get him a couple years. I can't say. I don't know. I don't know what the figures would be. If I was guessing, the same as Russell Wilson, maybe. They might have to do that to get him to stay. Because he could walk away in free agency. I mean, just literally. And then the Steelers will really be stuck. I mean, you think about that, All right, let's go to the comment section here. Jay's checking in. Thank you, Jay. Hello, Ralph. Hello, Smokin' Jim. Thank you, Jay. Jay also says, hey to Will, who I know who that is. All right, and then what happened to Jeremy, says Jay. I'm not going to go into it, Jay, here, but maybe if you can get a hold of me some other way, we'll discuss it, okay? All right, I think Russell Wilson is worth it. You don't? Jay, I think he is, but let's take a look at his record. He was 6-6. Justin Fields was 4-2. 6 games between the two that played. Or he was 6-2. I'm sorry, 6-2. And no, wait, I'm wrong. He was 4-2, I think, or 4 or whatever. And Russell Wilson was like 6-6 or 6-7 or something like that. So he had a losing record here, and that's how that works out. So let's see what we got here with Jay. Yeah, he's only 6. Yeah, he was 6-6. Yeah, that was his record, 6-6. So, and Justin Fields was 4-2. So there we are with that. Those comment section wide open. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platform, also on the Huddle Sports Network as well. All right, let's get back here to our studio sponsor, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And also don't forget about the original hometown pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard, 412-264-4444. the original hometown pizza in Moon Township. Also, don't forget about sponsorship advertising. If you are interested and you have a business and you're interested in some really affordable sponsorship advertising, I have several different packages for you. You can do just the radio shows. You can do the radio shows, the podcasts, and the website, www.rwmediaproductions.com. Or you can do it all. You can have the whole enchilada. Or if you just want to do a button advertisement on the website, I have all kinds of packages for you. 412-545-4317 or Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. I can craft the package for you at affordable prices. All right, don't forget, coming up tomorrow is Ralph's Opinion. We'll be joining you tomorrow at the 7 o'clock hour for Ralph's Opinion with me, Ralph Williams, tomorrow. I want to apologize for last night's cancellation or postponement of The Way We See It. Bill and I will be back tomorrow on Thursday at 7 o'clock. We had a little bit of a situation where both of us were like under the weather. I don't know if some of you know, I have some issues with my neck, and my neck was really bothering me yesterday, and was hard for me to move my head around, turn, and all that stuff. And a lot of people get offended when they don't see my face on the air. So, and make comments and stuff. So I just don't, do anything when my neck is in bad shape here. So from that as well. And don't forget, coming up at 5, the Wrestle Talk Show with me, Smokin' Jim Frazer. And we will be talking about, we have all kinds of wrestling stuff to talk about as well. And then don't forget the Saturday triple header of Ralph starts at 8 a.m. with me, Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno. Our guest this week will once again be Cletus Lee from Mayor of North Braddock. He's coming on to talk about the new arrangement that Trump made with Nippon Steel in regards to buying U.S. Steel. We will talk about that. He'll be joining us in the first 2 segments, and then the third segment, we got a lot to talk about, city politics and a whole lot more. And then don't forget the Saturday sports show every Saturday at 9 a.m., formerly known as the External Bum Show, and that'll be live here on our social media platforms, the South Florida Tribune, the return of Scott Morganroth, and the Huddle Sports Network as well, and soon to be some other networks also. And then last but not least, and please don't forget about that as well, you can tune in on the 1250 The Answer on their Facebook or on their on their website, theanswer.com, and then you can also tune in on iHeartRadio. Also go on Google if you don't live in the Pittsburgh or Western Pennsylvania area. Go on Google, and what you do is you punch up 1250 AM The Answer Pittsburgh. Scroll down, and you'll see Radio Stations USA. Punch up the arrow, and you'll be tuned into the show every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazer, Claudio Rosano, and Luther Dupree. All right. Smokin' Jim Frazer, anything you want to talk about today? Open forum with you today.
Well, I tell you what, Ralph, it's a little bit disappointing when you got a professional football team that continues to run in the quicksand. You and I was never a fan of Omar Khan. We thought he was a little bit overhyped on a few things that he was doing. He's come back down to earth and below. But listen, almost every mock draft you see out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take a wide receiver. 2 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers could have had their wide receiver in Jordan Addison. Now you got to go and continue to draft the same position because you passed on players that you should have taken. You say it all the time, Ralph, about different players that's playing for other teams that's doing very well that you wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers to take. So that's going to be the big key is you cannot continue to, draft a position over and over again or pass on the position of need. Everybody's talking about this great defensive line draft. I don't see it. hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers won't reach for a defensive lineman because all the experts are saying it's a tremendous draft for defensive linemen. I don't see it. Do you, Ralph?
No, I don't. But that's the Steelers need to be careful this draft. They need to make sure that they get everything they need. As far as what they, for what their needs are. That's what they need to go in for. But as I mentioned, they and as you mentioned, we both said it about Omar Khan. And I agree with you 100% about Omar Khan as well, as if it regards to the scenarios with the with all the with what has happened with the drafts and stuff like that. But remember, when Kenny Pickett was drafted, that was Kevin Colbert. That was not well, I lost Smokin' Jim here. Hold on, let me get him back on the air here. I lost Smokin' Jim. Yeah, there we go. All right, we'll get him back on here. All right, you back, Smokin' Jim?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I apologize for that. Sorry.
No
I
problem.
pressed the button by accident. Okay, Jay says topics. Number 1, Eagles' dominance was impressive. 2, the Portland Trailblazers' winning streak to take them out of the lottery. And then, is that bad or good move for a sports team? And can I don't know what that's all about there. It says, can Jarikus Duplessis beat Barrero or whatever that is? Maybe you might know what that is. There might be some boxing or something. I'm not sure, Smokin' Jim. But anyway, that was Jay. You know what? That's not a bad thing if they won the lottery. You win the lottery and you get a number 1 draft pick or whatever that is. That kind of thing. And so what happens is you you get a number 1 draft pick and you get to move on. You get to draft a young player, especially if you can get a stud, especially in the NBA. There could be some studs out there. I don't follow the NBA. We don't talk about it here at all because I'm not a big NBA fan. Haven't been since it's a UFC fight. Smokin' Jim, what do you know about UFC? I don't even follow that either. I don't follow UFC. You know anything about that?
I'm not an expert.
Yeah, neither am I. So I don't know. I don't follow UFC either. I haven't watched. I can't remember last time. Last time I watched the UFC fight, CM Punk was in it. And so was the one with Brock Lesnar that he got his butt handed to him, not the one that he won. So, but anytime you pick number 1, anytime, I mean, you're bound to get some good talent, especially if you need to build. But if it was a lottery pick and you're doing well, then good for you. I mean, okay, me, no NBA, no UFC, no Jay. We don't usually talk about that here, but I mean, anytime you get a number 1 pick, Smokin' Jim will attest to that. But you're right, Smokin' Jim, about Omar Khan. He's a numbers guy. That they brought in Andy Weidel to work with him. He built the Philadelphia Eagles, from what I understand, pretty much him and Harry Rosen over there. So I hear they built that team pretty good. So I mean, and they won the Super Bowl with some of the talent that he put in there, Weidel. So I mean, and for him to be with the Steelers, that's fine. But when you got Mike Tomlin in a way, and you got Omar Khan in a way, Andy Weidel sort of, I think, just a figurehead. I think he's just somebody that's here just to, you know what I mean? Because I've said this before, Smokin' Jim, and I think you'll agree with me. If Art Rooney II really wanted to win a Super Bowl, he'd do more than what he does as far as changes and whatnot. And it starts at the top. Right?
Yeah, I've heard you say that over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So, and now he made I didn't get the opportunity to interview him, but several other of our media colleagues did. And he told them that he's slowly letting his kids run a little bit of the show now. Some of his kids are going to be running the organization. Dan Rooney, his brother, spoke up about the Super Bowl or the draft next year. Spoke up about the being at the Super Bowl in New Orleans to promote the draft and stuff like that. So he's starting to pass the baton a little bit to his brother and to his kids. So we'll see what they do. They can't do any worse than Cameron Diaz did in any given Sunday. Who's the owner of the Tennessee Titans? That woman there, she's doing pretty bad there too. So. And the Davis family. How about the Davis family? Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah.
We could sit here and have a whole show on all the families, the kids that took over. So yeah, Jay, that was that's a prime example of a kid taking over an organization and screwing it up. Cameron Diaz. I mean, on any given Sunday. I mean, one of my favorite football movies, by the way. But anyway, all right, Smokin' Jim Duquesne. Not doing so good this year. Drew Joyce III. The cupboard was bare when Dan Broth left. He's not doing too good. Robert Morris isn't doing too bad. They're doing okay in the Horizon League. They've been losing a couple games here and there, but they're hanging in there. They're doing better than they have. And Pitt, we just talked about. I made my comments about Pitt men's basketball there. Laying an egg. I thought they would do better than they have, and they're losing games considerably, and they just don't have like the athletic director said in Blue Chips, you just don't have the talent. I mean, it's that simple. And so. But anyway, Jay says here. Let me see here. Any given Sunday, LOL. And then Jay also says that I saw Mark Davis at the airport one time, and he was flying JetBlue, not even private. I like that one, Smokin' Jim, flying JetBlue, not even a private jet. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we know over the years Al Davis has made some tough decisions, but that's Smokin' Jim. Your thoughts on our college teams here?
In terms of basketball, like you said, it's been very, very tough. That's why you got to make hay when you have an opportunity. I thought Duquesne took advantage of their opportunities last year. They made hay. They did very, very well. They went to the NCAAs. They advanced. The city got behind them. The coach retired, and it was a storybook season. I thought last year the Pitt Panthers could have done the same thing. They had a really good team, solid team. They had a TV-friendly team. They had a 6'8" guy that played guard that could really shoot the three-pointers. But unfortunately, they didn't make the NCAA playoffs. I thought it was a mistake for Pitt to turn down the NIT. And I think that the residue of that is starting to show now. You never turn down a tournament because it gives you extra practice time with your players, and it gives the players opportunities to play in playoff game action and atmosphere. Pitt was sitting at home while the NIT tournaments and the NCAA tournaments was going on because they got mad because they got overlooked in the NCAAs. You still got to play because you're playing for something. The NIT is still a pretty big tournament. So Pitt is losing now, but maybe they would have been more battle tested had they went into the NITs and advanced and maybe even won it last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they could have. They made a big mistake with that. I blame that on coaching because they should have just simply, and I get Capel, and but sometimes his attitude, he ends up making stupid decisions like that and not playing Duquesne, and stuff like that. Just really gets out of hand. All right, the Orioles. Jay says the Orioles haven't done much during the off season. Do you think they're going to be as good as they were this last upcoming season? Your thoughts, Smokin' Jim? Baltimore Orioles had a really good year last year in baseball. What do you think? You think the Orioles could repeat?
Yeah, I really do. I think that they're going to be good again this year. Hopefully, if they stay healthy, and they can be really good. So, yeah, I like Baltimore. It's a baseball town. And I think that they have enough to be competitive again this year.
All right. Also, Jay says March Madness versus the college football playoffs. Which do you like, Smoking Jim?
March Madness is number one.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the more
yeah,
and that's
March
more
Madness is
exciting.
number
That's
one.
more exciting. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't have the same teams. I mean, you might get some team that's like a Youngstown State or something that might come in and get in there. You know what I mean? You never know. It happens that way. So we will find out. So, all right. Let's see. Jay says that's a great, a good. That was a good point, Smoking Jim, about skipping the playoff tournaments. Jay also says, let's see here. What does he say here? Plus, if you win the NIT, you can get more recruits. Absolutely. I mean, Jay hit that right on the head because if they probably could have got a couple more recruits. Some of these recruits are saying, "Hey, wait a minute, they backed out of the NIT. I can just imagine what else they'll quit on." So all right, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, don't forget about DraftNation.com. Get a hold of them today, $9.99 a month. They have a draft magazine that will put in your inbox all your draft information, draftnation.com. Also, if you want some great insurance, get a hold of Robin Campbell, 412-366-3399. And I repeat, all of the insurances that Robin has, life, renters. I urge you to get renters insurance. I've seen too many people get burned because they don't have it. If you rent property or you rent any kind of an apartment, get renters insurance. It's less than $20 a month. Sometimes not even that, depending on your situation. So give Robin a call, 412-366-3399. All right. My closing thoughts are this. Pittsburgh professional teams have sunk so bad that, it's really a disgrace. Years ago in the 70s and 80s, and when the Steelers weren't winning, the Pirates were. When the Pirates weren't winning, the Steelers were. When the Steelers and the Pirates weren't winning, the Penguins won Stanley Cups. The Pirates at least competed in the early 90s, and a little bit in 15 and 16 and whatnot. But now it's just a disgrace, and it's really sad. It really is. But I want to say something. There's a billboard on the Boulevard of the Allies that was bought by Mark Adams, who through FanDuel was able to pay for this billboard that says to Art Rooney II, fire Tomlin or sell the team. All right. People are starting to put these billboards up in Pittsburgh because they are disgusted. They are disgusted with our professional teams. It's bad enough that they have the Bob Nutting ones up there, and I had them on the Ralph Williams show. I had Gabe on, one of the owners of that billboard, telling Nutting to sell the team. Now they're telling Art II either fire Tomlin or sell the team. Okay? This is where we are in Pittsburgh professional sports. And that's my closing for today. Smoking Jim, you have a closing you want to talk about or anything you want to say?
No, I think you summed it up, brother.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I read about that today, Smoking Jim, that through FanDuel Sports, Mark Adams, this guy is a major Steeler fan, has decided to go out and buy a billboard. And it's on the Boulevard of the Allies. And it says, fire Tomlin, Art II, or fire Tomlin, Art, or sell the team. What do you think about that billboard?
I think it's ridiculous. Again, some people in some sports towns think that they're obligated to, they're entitled to win the championship every year. The Pittsburgh Steelers started in 1933 and for 40 years, up through 1972, they didn't win anything. Never won a championship, never went to the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers is one of the most successful organizations, over the last 50 plus years in the history of the National Football League, and can't win every year. All you can do is be competitive. The Rooneys have kept them competitive. I think the Penguins have done a tremendous job. They're on the way down now. I think the Pirates got an opportunity to go to the playoffs this year. They got some outstanding pitchers, maybe the best player in all of baseball. I think the college teams are really bad locally, but I think the professional teams is doing pretty good. I guarantee you right now that the Kansas City Chiefs is getting some heat in Kansas City. I think the Houston Texans is getting heat. Whenever you lose, especially you lose that last game and you lose pretty bad, the fan base will turn on you. That's why every quarterback in the history of the National Football League, other than Scott Campbell, has been booed. And I like what I see in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a game or two away from maybe being a significant team next season in the playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl contender.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100% here. Jay, I just gave you my email again on the comment section here. You asked for my email. I just gave it to you. RalphWilliams737@gmail.com. If you don't choose to comment here, you can comment on my email as well, and we will, if you have any comments or questions about the show or anything like that. So, and then Jay said Detroit's fan base didn't turn on them. Yeah. Well, Detroit hasn't won for a long time, Jay. They finally started winning with Dan Campbell, and this year they blew it real bad in that playoff game. And I thought that they should have beat Washington. They should have blew them out, actually. But I guess too many injuries, were the reason for that. But, they say no excuses for it. Smokin' Jim, thank you for being part of the show today. And we'll see you on the other side of the hour for Wrestle Talk. And thank you for watching another edition of Sports Corner show. We'll be back we will not be here next Tuesday. I will be at the Smokin' Jim and I will be at the Highmark Stadium for our friend Claudio Rosano's. In fact, I'm going to put that up right now. You can still get some tickets through the riverhounds.com if you want to attend this here. I tell you what, Claudio's a good speaker. The Leadership Playbook featuring Claudio Rosano. Learn how to improve your leadership, create a positive winning culture, which is in his book as well, and also adjust to any challenge. And it's February 18th, 6 to 8. Admission is $40, and then also at the at Highmark Stadium per ticket, you can get them at the door as well, or go ahead or order them ahead on riverhounds.com. All right, so. All right, for Smokin' Jim Frazer, I'm Ralph Williams. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a great night, and stay tuned. Coming up at 5, Wrestle.